Everyone is a work of art, but why does it look like salmon? It's a weird question, I know. We're about to unpack a pretty wild answer, but before we get into the why, you gotta see the what. Okay, so here we are in this clean, white gallery space, and bam! There's this giant, terrifying shark. But hang on a second, look closer at its skin. Something's off. That's definitely not what a shark is supposed to look like, right? And then there's this, a massive shopping cart. You know, a totally everyday object, a symbol of consumer culture, whatever. But look, it's made of the same weird, organic, kind of fleshy material. What is going on? And to top it all off, a giant human skull. Super classic, super powerful symbol. And yep, you guessed it, it's covered in that same strange, almost unsettling texture.
So what's the common thread here? A shark, a shopping cart, a skull. It's that texture, right? Well, get this. They are all made to look like raw salmon flesh. Yep, salmon. Which brings us to the big question we're tackling here. Why?
All right, to figure out the whole salmon thing, we need to take a little trip back in time. We have to talk about one of the most important and, frankly, controversial artists of the 20th century, a guy named Joseph Beuys. So back in 1983, Beuys is on TV, and he just casually drops this absolute bombshell of an idea. He says, it should come to the point that man himself becomes the work of art. Now, this wasn't just some throwaway line, no way. This was the core, the absolute foundation of everything he believed. He gave this idea a name, social sculpture. See, for Beuys, art wasn't about paintings you hang on a wall or sculptures you put on a pedestal. Art was action. He truly believed that every single person, just by thinking and acting creatively, could help shape society itself. It's like we're all sculptors, and society is our clay. The whole thing becomes one giant collaborative work of art. Okay, so fast forward a few decades. This really powerful idea gets picked up by an art collective called the Joblin Factory. And they don't just run with it. They take it a huge, absolutely radical leap forward. And this is the key difference. You've got to get this. For Beuys, the human is the artist. You have to do something creative to shape the world. But for the Joblin Factory, nope. The human is the art itself. You don't have to do a single thing. Just by existing, you are already the masterpiece. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. According to this philosophy, you, right now, listening to this, you are a living, breathing work of art. You don't have to lift a finger. Your mind, your body, your very presence in the world, that's the exhibition. Okay, so this brings us right back to where we started. If we're the art, then what on earth is the deal with the giant shark and the shopping cart made of raw fish? It's time to finally solve the salmon mystery. So let's get right up close to this texture again. It's a lot, right? It's super visceral, totally organic, maybe even a little bit gross. It's designed to look like flesh, salmon flesh. And trust me, that is 100% intentional. And here it is, the key that unlocks the whole thing. It comes from Jack Joblin, the founder of the Joblin Factory. He said, the presence of the dead flesh makes the presence of the living flesh conscious. So what does that actually mean? It means these salmon sculptures are basically a modern memento mori, an artwork that reminds you of your own mortality. The whole point is that when you're standing in a gallery looking at this giant thing made of dead flesh, it's supposed to jolt you. It forces you to become super aware of your own body, your own aliveness, your own living flesh. The sculpture isn't really the art. It's just a tool, a prop to make you have that aha moment and realize that you are the real artwork in the room.
So, what do you do when you have an idea this huge? You can't just keep it locked away in a fancy gallery, right? Of course not. The Joblin Factory took their philosophy and hit the streets with it. They turned it into action.
And this image just perfectly sums up their whole vibe. On the left, you've got the Friedrichshain Museum. It's a huge deal, a pillar of the art world establishment, host of the famous Documenta art show. And then on the right, you see the Joblin Factory's plan. Just plop one of their own giant symbols, in this case a golden hare, which is a nod to German art history, right on the front lawn. They're not waiting for an invitation.
So at the Documenta 15 art fair, they staged what they called a guerrilla vernissage, basically a surprise party crash. They weren't on the official list, so they just showed up. They did things like leaving free books and postcards on park benches for people to find.
They put mirrors in the museum bathrooms, so when you went to wash your hands, you'd literally have to confront yourself, the artwork. They even scattered custom-made shopping cart chips around, and they were planning to do something with Beuys' famous 7,000 Oaks tree planting project. Every single one of these little actions was all about hammering home that one core idea: you are the art. And, of course, they also took this idea straight into the marketplace. You can buy t-shirts, bags, skirts, all covered in that signature salmon flesh texture. They call them Memento Multiples. It's a really provocative move, right? It totally blurs the line between art and just stuff you buy. And it makes you wonder, can a radical idea like this really survive being turned into a product you can add to your cart?
So here we are, right back where we started, but now everything looks different. That salmon flesh, it's not just some bizarre artistic choice anymore, is it? It's a mirror. It's a tool designed to make you see yourself as the masterpiece in the room. And that leaves all of us with one last, really important question to think about. If you are a work of art, what message are you putting out into the world?